I'm John Q, and I'm in recovery and a recovering addict. Um, I just wanted to. I woke up feeling a lot of emotions today and feeling really excited about a lot of things today. So I just wanted to kind of like express some of those feelings that I've been having, and you know, I I guess I kind of like you know starting to feel a lot of uh, you know what what freedom means, like how free I am to do so many things and so free to be able to just do about anything, like when I was in active, addiction and using drugs and stuff, and there was so many things that I excluded myself from just because, you know, it took all of my time. It never allowed me to have a life, because it was all about trying to find more ways to use or to get another one or to try to figure out a way to get another one. And it was really time consuming, and like what I've realized about addiction is that most of the time any symptom that has to do with the addiction usually comes to rob you or steal from you, you know the times that you could have with other people, and you know the the be able to you know to have fun. For that matter, even having fun, it just comes to take away everything. It doesn't, it doesn't love you. It doesn't love you back, as much as you might love it, and at no time does the symptoms love you at any given time. Most of the time you spend giving of yourself to something that never really gives anything to you back, only gives you the illusion of giving you something, and um, so I find, I find that there's a lot of freedom that comes from not using, and from working a program, from working, like a 12-step recovery, and like even the principles, like, I mean, being able to have choices and to be able to say what you're going to do today or what you're not going to do, or you know having the ability to just to to do the things that you set out to do, because when I was in using, like that never happened. Like, if I said I was going to do something, I just never ended up doing it. Like, it was almost like, if I had to go to work, like I didn't know whether I was going to go to work the next day or not, because, like, I didn't know if if my addiction would allow me to do it, and I realized, like, a lot of times we talk about, addiction, and how trapped we are, and I think about, like, when I first came, like, coming into the program, like I was trapped in the past, like my past was so dominating, because I always found myself, always in the past, like, thinking about, oh, when my mother left me, or, everything that ever happened to me in the past, and like, and I was always like, it seemed like it was like a continuing, re, rec, a continuing tape that kept on playing over and over again. And even when I would sleep, like, I would dream about the past, and I was so trapped in the past, and I couldn't find a way out. And it seemed like I was even trapped in the neighborhood that I was living in. Like, there was no way to get out. Like, I remember, like, going to go, you know to pick up drugs, in a neighborhood, and like I went there to go get some drugs, and I ended up being stuck there for a whole year, and moved into an abandoned building and all that, and that was like, my goodness, and that's how trapped I was inside my own mind, and like before I got here, and how free I am, because I'm not living in the past anymore. Like, I'm not living, in regret or shame or guilt, or these things that would cause so many obstacles in my way. And sometimes they still do cause some obstacles. Sometimes they still, create a mess, like, just because, sometimes I get caught up thinking that it's still like that sometimes, and it's just, like, you know I think it's in the literature, it talks about old boogaboos, that continue to haunt us, and sometimes they still, come up. Sometimes I still feel like, oh my goodness, like I'm like a little trapped, but what I realized from coming around is that I'm not trapped, that I have a way out, that there's freedom. There's so much freedom, like, it almost scares me to be so free, because the truth of the matter is that everything is allowed. Like in recovery, everything is allowed. You're allowed to do just about anything you want to do. You know, um, the only thing is that, like, everything is allowed, but not everything is beneficial to you. Not everything am I gonna benefit from doing those things, because some of those things, even though they're allowed, they can cause me a problem. They can cause me, more of a problem than I had before I did them. So, I realized, like, being free, um, is also a huge responsibility, because just because I'm free, that gives me, a responsibility, to choose what I can do and what I can't do, and what I'm capable of doing and what I'm not capable of doing, and so, I guess I'm talking a lot about the freedom that I have as a result of not using today, and just being able to have relationships, just being able to raise a kid, just being able to be there for people that you never thought you'd be there for, just being there for someone, like, and, you know being able to help somebody, find their way, from from the disease of addiction too, because we do that, with other people when we sponsor them, and just so many things that happen as a result of the freedom that I have found in this program, and, like, so much of the behaviors that I was trapped in before I started, in the program, like, I was trapped in these behaviors, and, like, a lot of times we want people to change right away, but you know what, it's like, it's a process, like, you have to work some steps, like, you have to, like, write, you have to, like, work with a sponsor, like, you have to, like, and the changing comes from inside out, and when it happens from inside out, then it's permanent. It becomes permanent, like, you don't have to turn around and you don't have to, like, try to change the outside, you know if you haven't changed the inside, the outside is definitely not going to change. It's just going to just stay that way. It's going to continue to happen, and you're going to continue to catch yourself doing it over and over again, because the inside hasn't changed yet, because something on the inside, because some belief or some truth that you're holding on to is causing you to continue to live that way. So, uh, I really, I'm so, strongly about this, but, like, everything starts with our thinking, like, everything, like, I realized from coming around so long that everything has to do with the way I think. And it's so much about my thinking and how I believe things, and the beliefs that I have, and they have to change, and I believe the literature talks about a lot about, our beliefs, just for today, like, it talks about in, you know, belief. Anyway, my time is pretty much up, and just wanted to thank you for listening. And if nobody told you they love you today, I love you, and so does the God of my understanding love you too.